Heart to heart conversations. That's what we're talking about today on Set to Love. You can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality.
You are here to contribute through your essence, fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on.
Take what works, ditch the rest, and always stay set to love.
Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go.
Good morning.
Good morning. I missed you yesterday, and I forgot to tell people that you were in Las Vegas because we had on the Val Village hosts and crew, which, by the way, fantastic episode. So anyone who did not have a chance to go and listen to that, you totally should. Great relationship advice stuff. But I totally missed you, so I'm so glad you're back. How was it?
Yes,
Your hair looks
it
great.
was great. Yes, Brooke did some modeling, but we both got our makeup done and our hair done, and Ashley was just so generous to us. She did everything just from the kindness of her heart and took pictures of the girls, you know, Harper and I. So it was great for a Mother's Day ad that she's going to be doing. So I didn't know I was going to be part of her promotions and whatever. So I was pleasantly surprised. So I had my makeup done and my hair done and also got beautiful pictures and deepened our friendship. I mean, these heart to heart conversations is perfect for today because heart to heart is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was talking yesterday backstage to Reverend Campbell from Agape Church, he was saying how he was going. He's like, I love your show. I love what you're doing here. And he said he was having a conference or some sort of online meeting with a bunch of men. And he was going to be telling them that they need to come from the heart, that, you know, in their conversations and the things that they do, that coming from the heart is the most important thing. And I think about just how much I've grown in the last 5 years, you know, in my ability to truly have heart-to-heart conversations, because it takes courage to really speak your heart, say how you feel, and say it in a loving way. Say it in a way that isn't attacking, saying it in a way that just really reveals how you're feeling, and it's so much better received. That's what I found, that when I can sit down and not even in the heat of the moment, a lot of times I'll feel something and at that moment I want to just handle it and I want to deal with it. But what I found is if I give myself 24 hours to really just sit with how I feel, think about it, hold it, process it, kind of therapy myself, like, why am I feeling this way? We talk a lot about taking ownership, like, what's your part? So for me, is figuring out, well, what's my part and what do I really want? Like, what am I really getting at with this? And then coming down to the root of what that is for me and then saying that thing. And I find that when I do that, my conversations, my friendships, my relationships are so much deeper and more connected. And that's why I think it's so important to have these heart-to-heart conversations with people when you feel things come up.
And you know, it's funny you would say that because when I think of heart-to-heart conversations, it's really just not even the tough conversations, meaning if you were upset, you know, if you're upset about something, I always believe if you want someone to hear you, you say two positive things, and then the part that's hard to say, that's a great little helper for when you have the heart-to-heart hard conversations. But I also think on the positive side, having a heart-to-heart conversation about just letting someone know how you feel about them. And what comes to mind is it's just even being open enough to share how you feel about someone or some situation without any expectations of what you're going to get back. Because sometimes you get so much fulfillment in just airing out. Like, really, I think I'm good at this. I can really say how I feel about someone or something to someone. And so much of the time is they weren't even really aware that that's where you were. Does
So
that
do you
make
have
any
an
sense?
example? What do you mean? Like, give me an example. It
So
doesn't even have
like
to be
I'm
real
saying
life,
maybe
but
someone, I use Claudia as a great example.
yeah, love her.
Bob's ex-wife. And she's a perfect example of when you're vulnerable with someone that it's supposed to maybe be awkward or whatever. But if it's so nice when you can say to them, I love you, or you look beautiful, or I'm really glad we shared this. And then as time goes on, it gets easier and easier. And now we're really an easy town because now she's just my family and my friend. So I just really think those heart to hearts, there's been times where, we've had to talk about things that maybe it might not have been easy, but because we already have had the conversations that we care about one another, we know where each other are coming from. So we're much more confident in what, you know what I'm saying? You almost give the person a little bit of leeway to be more open about something, because you really have to go outside your box sometimes. Even maybe with a boss or, because if you can strengthen that relationship and letting them know, like, even how much you appreciate your job. They may not be always easy on you and maybe gruff and whatever, but if you were to go in and say, you know what, I'm really thankful for this job. And I'm thankful that you really seem to care about this company. And sometimes you run a tight ship, but you know what? It's working. And I appreciate it. For somebody to be recognized, you'll see them all puff up and get all chesty. Like, really?
Yeah. I love that. You know what, Shelly, even like on we started at like, well, if you're having a really tough conversation, and then kind of went to a little bit lighter, but even lighter than that. And I tell my kids this, and we've talked about this on the show, not for a while, so I'm going to bring it up. When I think something nice about someone else, when it like truly comes from my heart, I just say it. For example, yesterday I was driving to Trader Joe's, wanted to pop in and get some wraps and salads for some easy lunches. And as I'm driving through the parking lot, there was a girl walking, and she had these darling sweatpants on. They were like tie-dyed sweatpants, and they just looked so cute on her. And I rolled down my window and I yelled out, "I like your pants." She was just like, "What? Oh, thanks." But I just, I do that. I do that kind of thing when I think something nice about someone else, a compliment, even if I have to yell it across a parking lot, I do it because you never know. Like, there's a reason it's coming in. And most of the time, maybe it's just an opinion that I have, but I've had an experience before, and I'll share it, where I was at a BevMo checking out, and the gal behind the counter, and I've told you this, so this is really not so much for you as it is for the viewers out there, but I'd love your feedback on it. And this woman was beautiful. And I the voice in my head kept saying, "Tell her she's pretty, tell her she's pretty, tell her she's beautiful." And I just thought, like, she probably gets it all the time, because she really, like, she was one of those people that you would like look twice, just a really pretty human. And I kept thinking, and I'm literally about to turn and walk out. And I said, "I just want you to know that you're really beautiful." And she stopped and looked at me and said, "Really? Like, do you really think so?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, yes. It's been going through my mind like 10 times. And finally I just said, fine, to the voice in my head. I'll just tell her." So I just need to tell you, it was on my heart, very heavy. She started to cry, Shelly. She got so emotional about that, because obviously whatever she was going through, however she was feeling, she wasn't feeling beautiful. She wasn't feeling seen. And just by me saying this thing, that the voice, that little intuition was not going to let me get out of there without telling her. And she needed that. She just needed to hear that. And that was truly my heart connecting with my mind, and like this big loud voice saying, "Just tell her, for Pete's sake." So when you're in an elevator with someone, or you walk by someone, or you're having a conversation, as you're talking to them, you think, "Gosh, their smile is so pretty," or "Wow, this person is so kind," or whatever that compliment is, or "Wow, that thing you said, like, I just want to acknowledge you. That was really cool that you said that, or that you did that." Just when that feeling comes into your heart, you feel like you need to have that conversation or say that thing, just do it.
Well, and
Even
I
if
also
it's hard, or you feel awkward.
And sometimes when you have that compliment that you've given someone and they're kind of shocked or whatever, sometimes when they react, the conversation that comes from that compliment sometimes is just the most beautiful experience, where people have come from. I mean, we're just so much better off when we can connect heart to heart with people.
Mm,
I mean, there's times you make a friend and you know what I'm saying? And you can,
absolutely.
I've met ladies out where I ended up becoming their esthetician just because, I'll say something to them and they'll just say, you know what, I really didn't need my eyebrows done. I really just wanted to see you again. You made me
I
feel
love it.
so good. And so it's true. You can have and make friends and just make the world a better place just by
Yeah.
giving love.
And being genuine in that, I mean, I'm going to a wedding in 2 weeks for Julian's cousin. I think it's his cousin. And I'm so excited about it because I just think, like, who am I going to meet? Who's going to sit next to me, or who am I going to be standing next to that I'm going to have a heart to heart conversation with? And it reminds me of that time that I was up in Martinez visiting Julian's family, and we went to a bar. This was when, everything was open and popping, and he was talking to his friends and connecting. And I just was sitting at the bar, and there was a gal that sat next to me, and frankly, I'll just talk to anyone. And so we started having this conversation, and we talked for an hour and a half, and it was so powerful and so amazing and so real. It was so much deeper than just a surface conversation. We were talking about her career. We were talking about just like where she was going. I felt like she's like, "Are you a life coach or something?" I'm like, "Or something," But it's just so beautiful when we can do that with even a complete stranger, just opening up and being vulnerable and really getting to know who that person is. And I think that when we do that more and more in our lives, we find that people are just people. And, we're in these like meat sacks of bodies, whatever size, shape, color, background,
Yep.
wherever it comes from. But like our souls know how to connect. And when we can just sit there across from someone else and see soul to soul, it's amazing and beautiful, the connection and love that we feel. And I think that's one of the coolest things about being a human, is that ability to connect on this heart level with someone, even a total stranger at a bar for 1 hour.
Yes. Now, I also think too that both of us are people,
That's
right?
true.
So we can pretty much, I could talk to any stranger.
Me too.
But what about those people? Do you have any advice? Because you're really good at this. Do you have any advice for somebody who's never done that? Like maybe they've
So,
thought about like how could we help them to
mhm,
like take a step towards a conversation, a
I
heart to
love
heart
it.
conversation?
I would say that if you're someone not outgoing, this is the first thing that pops into my head, is when you walk by people, you're on the walking trail, you're in the mall, you're getting your food through the drive-in, look look at people's eyes and just smile or say, "Hi, how are you?" It doesn't have to be this whole big deep conversation that you have with someone. I mean, you don't have to do that. It's really just recognizing, looking at someone, looking them in the eyes, smiling, and genuinely like, "Have a great day," and just mean it. Like, don't that little connection can be enough, and you can start that small and just see what happens. Look people in the eyes and smile. That would be my what advice would you give? That would be my advice on how to kind of start that journey if you were someone truly introverted and it was hard to have a conversation with a total stranger. Now, if it was someone like your partner or someone, man, sometimes when I feel like I'm going to have that conversation, my heart starts pounding. I'm like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to word it. And that's when I give myself time and space. I go, why do I need to do this right now? Let me just think this through. Let me think about how I want to frame it. Let me envision myself having that conversation, see the conversation going well, seeing us holding space for one another, and knowing that we're doing this because we want to connect even deeper. Like, I want to connect even deeper with this person. That's my intent. I want to love this person even more, and I want them to love me even more. And for them to do that, and for me to be able to do that, I need to be able to speak my heart, and that takes courage and being brave. So that's
I
what I
would
would say from
say
like,
I would say when if it's a heart to heart that you're not used to with a loved one or a
yeah.
partner or whatever,
Mhm.
I would basically say what I want to achieve first and just say,
Beautiful.
I'm really scared right now. Because I think sometimes if you just bring it to the forefront and just say, this is not a comfortable
I've done that.
conversation that I want to have, but I'm really scared. And so if I don't do it just perfect, please know this is just my feelings. It doesn't mean I'm even right. So I really do want your feedback. Are you open to this? Like ask for permission
Beautiful,
and then you'll
Shelley.
kind of give yourself that few minutes because sometimes you don't have the time to give it another day or two. If it's a time where you need to do it now, just vulnerability is just saying where you're at. I'm really
I think
scared right
even if
now.
you do give
And I
yourself
don't,
that day or two, starting it
I don't,
that way is very powerful.
and I don't know what your reaction is going to be, but I'm coming from a loving place. And I
I
think
love
if
it.
you say that, that is really going to be your friend. That's going to help you. And as far as people, that in the outside world, I think of times that people have complimented you and how that made you feel
Mhm.
and how good that is, and to spread kindness. And I don't even think it's sometimes even just giving a compliment. If you're doing your groceries and you see someone that's older or that might have a hard time putting their water in their car, just saying, "Hey, can I help?"
Yep.
It's just things like that. Costco, there's so many times I've seen an elderly person in the handicap stand, and I'll just go, "Oh, let me get that for you." And they're so shocked. So just even not just saying kindness, but
Mm,
doing acts of kindness and realizing when it's happened to you that you want to pay it forward.
I love it. What a great show, Shelley. I feel like
Yay!
we packed in a whole bunch of good information. So I really hope that this can be beneficial for someone. And if you struggle with having heart to heart conversations, you don't know how to start them, you don't know where to go with them, you're not sure, but you know you want this is something that Shelley and I can coach you through. And this is what we love to do. We love to work with people and help them find their flow. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you don't have this kind of flow in your life, send us an email, set2lovepodcast@gmail.com. We'll book a discovery call with you. Heck, we may even be able to solve your issue with one free call just with us. And if you want to work with us longer, you're free to do that too. And if you just want to go back and watch, we've got over 150 episodes now. That's over 40 hours of content on how to live in flow, and it's free and it's all up online, all up on YouTube. You can just search Set to Love and find us there. I love you, best
I love
friends.
you too.
Have a
Hit
great
the
day.
bell.
Hit the bell, everyone. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.